Okay, so this is what I have right about here. Little Kubota diesel UTV. And a lot of times with the winches on these, if you're doing what I do, pulling logs out, pulling fence posts, doing like whatever, we're using the winch constantly. The winch cable gets totally trashed, and if you use it at all, just within time, you're just going to have to replace it. That's all there is to it. But you don't exactly want to replace the whole cable when only the front like 6 inches are bad. So I'll do my best to show you how to replace these. These are 1/4 inch cables. So even buying an entire new cable is only like 50 bucks, but still just doing it yourself a lot of times is a lot easier, and it's a lot easier to keep a couple ferrules in your shop than the whole extra cables and everything. So I'm sure this is scalable. If you're doing anything smaller, doing anything larger, this method would still work. But yeah, I'll show you what I got here. So these guys right here is what I decided to use. I just picked mine up at the local Home Depot. You'll see the brand and everything that I used, but they seem to work just fine. And I'm sure getting them on Amazon, what is this, $12 for, what is this, 30 of them? Yeah, way cheaper. I bought a pack of 2 for like $6. So if this is something you do very often, then definitely get the 30 pack. And honestly, sometimes it's easier getting something on Amazon delivered right to your door than to make a special trip all the way to Home Depot, depending on how far it is from you. So I had the winch on the front of this little Kubota UTV. Cable got ripped off. So I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to replace the cable. Obviously, first thing you're going to do is take your cable, wrap some electrical tape around it, so when you cut it, it doesn't open all up, but you'll just completely wrap the end with tape, and then you'll just cut it off with the grinder with the cutoff disc. If there's any stragglers or anything sticking out, just make sure you cut them off nice and flat so you got an easy tip to work with. And then I also picked up a pack of these at Home Depot, which are the cable ferrule and stop sets. We will use the ferrules, and I'm going to show you how to make a crimp form, because these crimp guys here only go up to 3/16, and this is 1/4. So this will be a nice cheap way to make it without dropping the money on getting like a hydraulic one or anything crazy. So what I did here is I just got a couple railroad spikes and just stuck them in the vise, and then I'm going to drill a hole right through the middle of here. Start by putting a little WD-40 on there. There are better lubricants, but you got what you got. So I'm going to start small and just work my way up. And I'm going to keep lubricating it as I go. Sweet. We through. Got a hole all the way through that's 3/8. Okay, there's 1/2 inch drilled through in the middle of those two. 1/2 inch is right about the size of one of these. So the goal is to separate that and drop this in that gap, and then we'll press it together with the cable on the inside. So let's see if we can get that to work. Got it realigned. Every part of this process is a pain in the butt, especially if you only got 2 hands. But if you got a son or something that can help you, that'll really help. And I'm not going to be able to squeeze it with one hand. So there we go. So if you need to crimp a cable, I would suggest doing it like that, because those the other clamps suck. When you use this style, it sucks because you've got these things sticking out. This is obviously the wrong size, but if I was to buy the size for doing this, you'd want to use probably 3 of these. So you got 6 stinking nuts and everything, and it's all dangling off the cable, and it looks kind of ghetto. And this here, you can clamp it in there and then hit it with a flap disc, and it'll look actually really nice and professional. There are a few things that everybody should buy at Harbor Freight, and one of those is a set of cotter pins. You slip that guy through there and wrap them around just like that. Take your dikes, and we are done, just like new. I would not do this if I did not have a good vise. Anything, any vise or whatever you get at Harbor Freight, probably gonna have some issues. But if you got a nice old school vise, then that'll work. And if you don't have quite as strong of a vise, you can remove some material, make that half as thick so you're only crimping half as much each time. You do that with just a regular grinding disc. Reduce the size of that so you're only taking half the bite, and that'll reduce the amount of pressure that you need on your jaws. But yeah, that's what I found works for this. So hopefully that's of some help to somebody. And then again, here's the product that I used again. These guys here.